Hello, welcome to the Augmentation of Man. I'm Renee Miller.
I'm rather half.
Today we're going to be talking about moving into this next cycle of conceptual learning and what that means and how humanity is being prepared before that actual cycle begins, what to expect and how to align yourself so that you can qualify to move into that new cycle and be a part of it.
Yeah, you're introduced to the books, for those that may not know right now, that's the first book, that's the second edition of the first book, The Augmentation of Man, a Study in Renaissance. And the second book,
This is about a general spiritual book, describes dimensions, karma, that sort of thing, which is not aligned to thinking of today because humanity has a habit of adding to the story. Okay, so this is the Augmentation of Man. The acquiescence of humanity talks about the true origins of humanity, that Earth is a lab, that we are part of an experiential learning field, and where we're going, and talks a lot about the other beings that exist outside of Earth. Those are both available on Amazon. These are channeled messages, and Kent is a trance channeler, meaning he goes into a deep meditative state and he can hear like a voice in his mind that dictates lessons and prophecy and predictions.
and I also get visions, not with every meditation, but throughout the life of me being in the meditation since 2007. I've gotten several visions. Anyhow, let's go on with the today's learning, and we're moving into the next. Well, we're trying to move into the next cycle.
And how do we align ourselves to that? Where's humanity going? This here is a combination of two channelings that occurred this past week, and they kind of overlap. So I decided to combine them. And then looking back, we also had another message from yet another guide back in April that affirmed that where humanity is going and what lies ahead for us.
So humanity in general has been on the wrong path, and we know this.
Mhm.
We've been saying this for some time. It's like the Hopi prophecy says. The Hopi prophecy block shows two paths. One where humanity will survive and learn, and the other where they will basically fall off a cliff.
Well, the other is a crooked path.
Yeah, the crooked path.
It's like
nothing happened. Yeah, nothing works. Where we took, and humanity in general has been on the crooked path.
mhm.
So we took an alternate timeline to humanity.
And there has to be
And
a
there's gonna be
correction in the timeline
There's going
now.
to be repercussions, or there is repercussions
Mhm.
from the timeline that we took. So we have to let go of our ego, which takes over everything, including our spiritual self and everything. And the physical beings that are here have to step back
Well,
from
they did
the
step
ego
back.
and realize what they're doing.
These beings that were here teaching us, both physical and non-physical beings, told us that they could not, at that time, this was going back a couple thousand years ago, that they couldn't intercede because it would have caused this succession of missteps, and they had to let things just play out naturally on their own.
Yeah.
But now um, humanity has gotten to this point where we have all these non-truths that exist, misperceptions. It has put us in a divided state where there's no unity, there's no truth that really exists. And here we are starting a new higher cycle. And you can't have a new higher cycle start when you have all these mistruths and misunderstandings that exist. So their job is to step in and help coordinate events that are aligned astrologically and bring humanity to a universal truth, the way that the rest of the universe sees the truth.
Yeah, well, these entities were bringing humanity the gift of knowledge, and the knowledge included how to farm and metallurgy, and I understand even how women applies makeup.
Yeah. So anyway, these entities are the ones who help move humanity along in the path of learning and understanding, bringing forth, helping to bring forth new ideas, new technology, that sort of thing. And as we enter this new cycle, they will come back into existence within our lives in a more obvious way. And um, that cannot happen until we have all the truth out.
So, where do we get back to where we should be and get back on the right path? So, how do we correct the timeline? How does humanity correct the timeline?
Well, I think you have to start with the fact that the outside entities, physical and non-physical, have set forth a plan, and it is a series of sequences, a series of events that each serves as a step in the process to bring about the truth and to bring humanity to new understanding and eventually bring humanity to a place of wanting to know more. This inquisitiveness is where we need to get to. And so it's all through a sequence of events, but for humanity, we have to be able to open our minds to a new reality, and we have to be able to put forth the work in order to do the research that's needed to learn.
Yeah, Renee was talking about a sequence of events. Well, there are steps in the process to bringing humanity to a desired outcome, and these steps are very important.
Mhm.
These steps are events. They're working on the alignments of the planets, working with the alignments of the planets itself. So each event is to bring humanity to a particular place in understanding, setting the stage for the next event.
Mhm.
So with that,
And our job is to reflect on
right.
each event. We've got to look at it. You can't go into this new cycle without shifting your understanding.
So each event brings the truth itself and a new understanding.
Mhm. And so it's not helpful to get emotionally entangled in it all. The point is that when the lesson is learned, the lesson goes away and we move forward. So observe each event as though it is something to be learned. And if enough people do that, we can shift what is happening in our world.
Yeah, so it's all designed to move humanity itself into a desired truth
Mhm.
and to get rid of the ideologies.
So we have to become more inquisitive, and we will eventually become unified once these truths come out and people um, accept the truth. Okay, so that's a big point right there. And that is that
Well, you have to
in
get,
order to accept it, the truth has to be repeated over and over
yeah, but
again,
with that, you've got to get
repetitiously.
rid of your old ideologies and your old beliefs
Yeah.
have to crumble and disappear
Hmm.
in order to make way for the new thought.
Well, or the new truth
Yeah.
as it is repeated, then we slowly let go of these old belief systems. But sometimes, we hold on to, like, say, scientific ideas and things that were theories that became the standard for a particular belief, a scientific belief. Then when something comes out that disproves it or expands on it, the first thing we want to do is push it away.
Yeah,
But then
because
as it's repeated and as
well,
we hear
as
it over and
evidence,
over
yeah,
again,
as
we
evidence
come to
shows,
believe and we shift in our thinking.
as evidence shows that it's the truth. But
Yeah,
people don't believe in
right.
evidence right away.
Yeah. And so that's the same process for all things, is that we generally hold on to the old belief until there's sufficient repetition and proof that what we believed to be true was only partially true or that it wasn't true. And we have to shift in our belief system, but we also have to open our minds because there's a lot of people who will hold on to those old beliefs very tightly and not let them go. And we can't be in that zone. We have to move forward and release the old belief systems and come to understand the new
Aligned to a new
information that's
understanding.
coming out.
Yeah, it's aligned to a new
Hmm.
understanding.
Yeah.
So the ideology is not just about religion. So, but all of our belief systems
Hmm.
of the past.
Even scientific belief systems. Um,
Because
things change.
scientific belief systems of the past are being proven over and over
Hmm.
that I wouldn't say untrue, but they are the basics
Of
of
understanding.
understanding. But
And
they're
there's
not,
always more to
and
the
there's a
story.
lot more to the story. Yeah.
Yeah. So the events playing out today have a common thread, and that is to align us to the truth of our world. Our job is to open our minds and shift away from previously held belief systems because the future is only for those who have moved in their understanding. So keep that in mind. Um, People who are rigid in their thinking, people who don't have any interest at all in learning, who are kind of stuck in these repetitive behaviors of not being aligned to our true purpose here on earth, which is about the learning, they will not move on into the next cycle.
So there's going to be a repetition of events. And that's the only thing that you can learn from about truth is a
Mhm.
repetition over and over and over. So the guide spoke of repetitious events about truth, and as a quality that will be lead to a shifting of the humankind itself, belief system, and a new understanding
Mhm.
of what's coming. So there'll be a shift in those that are looking for truth.
Mhm. Yes,
and not those that are not looking for truth.
right. So you will still have a division there, but eventually, and we don't know how this is going to happen, they have spoken of on many occasions that there is going to be about 80% of the population that will exit
Yeah,
this earth.
that's a big percentage.
And it's directly tied to who is able to move on into the next cycle of conceptual learning. So expect some of these events will continue to repeat until people start to understand what the truth is.
Yeah, the guys are telling us that truth will prevail and reassured us that an aptitude will take place. Aptitude of
So, meaning that there's going to be an ability for people to understand.
yeah, they've gained it.
Mhm.
Well, they will gain it. I guess that's opening of the mind itself, an opening of the
Well,
soul
it's
thoughts.
it's an aptitude is like the ability to be able to do
Yeah.
something.
So,
And so they also talk about mathematical reception to prevail the outcome in a rigorous manner.
that's a lot
So
of words.
this is how our guides speak. And that is why I'm always carrying around a dictionary. So, or using my phone in dictionaries online. But so to break that down is that mathematical reception, when we have repetitive events happen and we finally come to understand it in a like 360-degree way. We're looking at all the different angles, and with those events we're looking at the same type of event or lesson from different angles. But once we have come to 360 degrees of looking at it from every angle, we have an attunement that happens to a higher vibration. Now, it's not huge, but these attunements add up. And so, over the years, when we're reflecting on the lessons that are presented in our field, our third dimensional field, over the years, this has an accumulation and our vibration rises with the new understanding. When you talk about vibration, vibration has a mathematical equivalent. I'm not going to get into it. It has to do with grafting waveforms on paper and making um, mathematical equations out of it. However, just suffice it to say that there is a mathematical equivalent for each vibrational pattern, and that we receive this mathematical equivalent of an vibrational upgrade as we learn. And it's going to happen in a rigorous manner. So we're going to shift very radically in a short period of time with all these events happening, as long as we are reflecting and learning from it.
Okay.
It's
So-
not going to happen to people who don't.
Yeah, so we humanity is being warned that there will be a nonsensical movement by some people who will cause a shaking interference in society before the desired outcome can be achieved.
So there's going to be people who are going to cause a lot of chaos in society before all of this shifting and the good stuff happens. You know,
Yeah.
we've got a lot of things that are going to happen before the final
They call
destination.
it a nonsensical.
Yeah, it
movement.
doesn't
Yeah,
make
yeah,
sense
yeah.
that
So,
they're acting out,
that's right.
but in a nonsensical way. And it's
So-
going to shake things up. It's going to cause a lot of interference in the meantime.
In another message, another guy describing as deflagration, and which means a burning, followed by an earmark to events.
That was the guide's words earmarked.
that was the guide's words.
So trying to decipher this, I came up with a couple of different definitions or explanations for that message.
Could be flaring up of events.
The deflagration could be flaring up of events like a fire, followed by something that identifies what is the cause of it. So when you reflect, you go back to what led up to that event, and then you discover what caused the event.
Yeah, and could be even actual fires, which is happening every year.
And they don't have to be natural fires. It could be people just trying to burn the place down, right?
Well, that's true.
They're protesting and setting things on fire.
Yeah. So,
And it may be followed by legislation at the local level that addresses that issue if it happens to be
if it's
actual
that,
fire.
there will also be a monumental distrust in all things relating to the human event.
Yeah, and the guide had already said this is actually starting to occur, that this distrust of all human events. And I can see it not only within myself, but others too that we know,
right.
just talking about things, that there's a lot of distrust out there. But that is one of the steps in the process. We have to get to that point of distrusting things before we start to believe something different.
So they are telling us that, and these are the words that are used by the guides, estrusence, which is an interesting word, is a preventive disease of the mind. Estrusence.
So, of course, that estrue sense is not in the dictionary, but estrue is. It means scattered. So I think what they're talking about is that these scattered thoughts do not bring true understanding, and that it results in a disease of the mind because nothing connects.
Yeah.
Nothing makes sense. Their thoughts are all over the place. It's all disconnected. And that it is a part of a disease thinking
Yeah,
process.
so you don't have the true understanding or the truth itself.
Yeah. So where we're headed is we're going to start be guided by our thoughts. You're going to hear words, messages, maybe sentences pop into your mind like a really strong word or sentence or set of words that you didn't think of. You were thinking of something completely different. You were doing something, and all of a sudden, this strong thought comes into your mind. Pay attention to that. Follow up on it. And I've got a story. Okay, so yesterday, we've got on our property, we have a wildlife protection plan or management plan for pasture nesting birds. So I'm watching we had a killdeer, a pair of killdeers, who they're pasture nesting, but they like to nest in gravel. So we had this gravel driveway, and we were gone on this road trip, and we come back, and they have made the nest in the middle of our driveway. And so we've been driving around their nest. And at first, the mama or the daddy would move out of the way, and they act like they've got a broken wing and they're trying to, protect their nest and their eggs. And then after a few days, they realized we were trying to drive around their eggs. And so after a while, they just sat there and they weren't bothered by our driving around them. So finally, the eggs hatched. And before I know it, mama or daddy has the two chicks up on the driveway near the garage. And then later in the day, I hear her out on her front porch, and she's got her little chicks on the front porch. And it came to, I came to realize or think that she wanted to show us. Here we were being so careful about driving around her nest, and she knew that we knew that she was trying to hatch these little chicks. And so she brought them up to the front porch to show us her,
That's never happened
her
before.
chicks.
Yeah.
Now she's got them out in the backyard, and they're eating bugs and stuff out there. And yesterday I was watching them, and I kept hearing titmouse, titmouse. And I'm thinking, I've heard titmouse before, but for some reason I'm thinking it's a mouse. But all day long I'm hearing titmouse, titmouse. So I finally Google it, and it's a bird. And it's a bird that actually is in our area, but they like forested areas. And the property that we have didn't have any trees on it, and we've
Well,
been busy
They had
planting
trees
trees.
down by the pond, but not by the house. So we've been planting trees closer to the house.
Yeah. So for some reason, I needed to know about the titmouse, and I did some research and found out that they are local to this area. And maybe as we continue to plant the trees and they grow, that we will end up with titmouses on our property here.
Yeah.
And
So
so
they're really a pretty bird.
this is just an example of where this goes. So when you start to hear these words, maybe you know what the meaning is, maybe you don't.
To be inquisitive.
If it doesn't make sense to you, even if you know what the meaning is, look it up in the dictionary anyway, because I can tell you there will be another definition that triggers something that's going on in your life that will have significance, and you didn't know what that other definition was. And so research it. And this is what they're telling us is going to start happening to people. So follow up on it, be inquisitive, and realize that these guides are communicating new ideas to us and trying to incite us to learn more. And
Yeah.
take it up. And it becomes quite an interesting journey when you do. So start paying attention to those thoughts that arise in your mind. That's very important. That's
Okay.
going to be the first step.
So finally, this is from the guide's words.
Mhm.
A magnification of consequential truth is manifest. It will become manifest in itself. The consequence of these events will be magnified in order to accentuate the truth. This magnification will be upon those conceptual beings that are moving into the next cycle. Not everyone, not all humans.
Mhm.
The aspects of the coming planetary alignments are setting the paragon of what is to come. Paragon meaning a model of perfection.
So the planetary alignments that are coming, and
Which is a very rare alignment.
well, yeah, and the astrologers are saying that this month the astrological alignments are setting
We're
the
beginning.
pattern for all these things to come. New technology, our new cycle is beginning at 0 degrees Aries, and
Yeah, so
there's all these things that are happening. So I would recommend that you find a an astrologer that resonates with you, and start paying attention to what they're saying, because it's telling us where the future is going. And our guides tell us things they give us predictions of what's to come, and the astrologers are saying the same thing. So this is just validation for us that
Yes.
this is real.
But
It
not-
is happening. It's astrology is valid.
Yes, but I want to warn you, not all astrologers are good astrologers.
Mhm.
All right?
Sometimes it takes
Yeah, you
listening
gotta
to different
listen to
ones.
different ones.
Yeah. But so our guide is saying that the planetary alignments that are occurring now are setting the paragon of what is to come, meaning the model of perfection of what is to come. So that's pretty exciting.
So when humanity is under one truth, is united under one truth, and that has to happen.
Mhm.
Not tomorrow, not next week,
That's what's going
but
to
that's
create
what's
the
going to
unity,
create, yes.
because then we won't be divided
We
under
are
all our
becoming-
differences.
Right. We become more inquisitive and wanting to know and understand
Mhm.
what it's all about, and not focused on the color of our skin, and not distracted by the acquisition of material goods,
Mhm.
and not bound by ideologies. That all has to go away.
Yeah. And then we have to start listening to our inner guidance, listening to those words popping into your mind, align to our true purpose on earth, which is the learning. It's all about the learning. And then when we've accomplished those things,
We'll get back on the right timeline.
we will have reset the timeline.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we will be ready to move into the next cycle of what we call consequential, what the
Conceptual.
conceptual learning.
There is consequential learning
Yeah,
and consequential beings, which understand all the universal laws consequential to any event.
yeah.
But we're talking about conceptual beings and conceptual learning. So that's all about, we're going to move into a cycle of learning about these universal laws and the concepts behind the laws to bring us to a new understanding of why do we have free will?
Yeah. Why does anything
To understand why that exists, why that universal law
That's right.
exists.
and why we're even here?
And there's millions upon millions of universal laws. So there's a lot to learn, not just about free will.
So with that, I want to thank you for sticking with us in this journey of consequence. And we wish you well until our next video.
I do want to say, spinning off of the consequence, we've been told that we have not been living under the universal law of consequences and that we will be returning to it. And that is because through consequences, we learn. So
Yep.
we have to have the consequences in order to properly learn.
Okay. So
Thank you for joining us. Please hit the bell after you subscribe and like so that we can get this message out further.
that's right.
So
So
peace be with you on your journey to
have a
enlightenment.
good week this week.
Bye-bye.